Model view controller.
Yes. Okay, from Salesforce point of view, how the data are configured, like how do we
User interface
define the data?
development.
Yes, Dinesh?
User interface development, sir.
Model. That's part of the view, right? User interfaces.
So model is configured in object format.
Correct. Objects. Okay. And UI. How are we setting up UI? Like
Both
Salesforce, what are
declarative
the
and
correct?
programmatic.
Yes. So we have
Declarative we use the Lightning app builders or page layouts like that.
okay. Yeah. App builders we have used
LWC.
Lightning Web Components. Okay. So we saw both data model and we saw UI interfaces, right? Now in between we have control logic. Okay. So control logic is where the business process comes into picture. Okay. So let me quickly share my screen and we'll walk through the business logics. You guys able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So login and name. And all of you confident that you guys will be able to complete the trailhead that I have given? By this week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm expecting you guys to complete by this week. Okay. Okay. If you are not able to do it, please let me know why you are not able to do it. Okay. The only exception that I know is Amina because she doesn't have a system. Other than Amina, everyone else should be able to complete the trailhead module. The admin beginner should be completed. And Dinesh, have anyone reached out to you for any questions, help? Yesterday I asked you to support the team, right?
Yes, sir. I'm in work from home, sir. Actually, one guy called me, Fargan.
Okay. Okay. So no one else had any questions.
No, sir. No one
Fair
asked any
enough.
questions to me.
Okay. Yep. I understand you're working from home, but Teams is there to communicate with you or email is there. You can share your email address with the team. So at least they will send an email of their questions if there is anything.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. Let me. Okay. So data model we have seen the UI. Okay. We have seen the app launcher and from the app launcher we have built apps. Okay. We have seen that what is the purpose of the tab, what is the purpose of the list view and how we select a record, how the record UI can be set up, right? Now we wanted to implement business logic. Okay. Can anyone say what, like some example for a business logic? Any business, some logic is all I'm looking for. Okay, so we have taken the hospital scenario, right? Okay. Hospitals, like, whenever they are going to, have a patient admitted, okay, they would provide, a business, admission card. Okay. And they will set up some restrictions saying that, okay, hey, the visiting hours are this and this. Okay. So those are the business logic or controllers which we have to configure. Okay. And they would say, one doctor should have, this many appointments, this many patients should have he would be visiting. Okay. One nurse would be taking care of, so many, patients. Okay. And, what is their, shift hours? What are, who is working on which shift? Okay. If someone is on leave, what has to happen? Okay. These are all, business logic or business process that are defined. I'm sticking with hospital management. Okay. I'm sure, we all would have visited hospital and see how things work. Okay. A simple clinic, for example, also we can take. Okay. So the working hours is a very simple example for business logic. Okay. They define the working hours, say that, okay, the shop would be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's a one simple business rule, business logic. Okay. And so similarly, every business has, has defined processes. Okay. If you guys go apply for a driving license, right? There is a process of how you get a driving license. Okay. There is a process defined for how you visit a doctor in a clinic. Process defined for how you do a patient, admission. Okay. There is a process defined for how you hire a doctor, how you hire a nurse. Okay. All of these are business process. Okay. And the controller business logic is transforming this business process into the system, right? That we call business logic. Does that make sense? And for the role of the developer, right? Whatever you guys are doing, okay, the role of the developer is very, very, very crucial. Okay, you need to understand what the business is trying to achieve. Without your understanding, you cannot build an application which is useful for business. Okay. So in hospital management, okay, let's say we have a pharmacy employees, okay, and the pharmacy employees, they each company, let's take, in order to work in a pharmacy, you need to be at least +2 passed. That is a business, a rule that they are defining. That's a business logic that has to be set up. So in order to build that application where you are going to onboard an employee, okay, you can set a condition saying that the education qualification of the employee must be, like, +2 or like minimum +2. Okay. He could have done, no, undergraduation or post graduation, PhD, that and all is okay. But bare minimum 12th standard is needed. Okay. So Salesforce provides solutions how we can implement such business logics. Okay. So we call that control unit. Okay. And we'll see some examples, like, what are all the control logics that are declaratively available today and what is programmatically available in next week. So you guys have seen the data model, what sort of data is built, what sort of data, how the data is stored, how we can, organize the data in the system. We have seen how we can, build apps, build UI in the system in a declarative way. Okay. Now we will see how we can implement business logic or controller part in MVC framework. Any questions on this so far? Okay. Now, Dinesh, since you have done admin, I will pick you. Now, we wanted to make sure the employee's educational qualification is more than 12th standard. Okay. Give me an option how we can do that, business logic in Salesforce. Any
One more
options?
time repeat, sir. Employee.
Okay. Now, we have pharmacy employees, right? An object
Yes,
we
sir.
built. Okay.
Mm.
The condition is, in order to be employed in a pharmacy, he should have studied or passed 12th standard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How can we do that?
We put a validation rule for the field.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Dinesh.
Thank you, sir.
So we have defined objects. Okay, let me go to pharmacy. Okay. So this is the object where we are storing the pharmacy employee information, and these are the fields which we are capturing whenever we are adding an employee to a pharmacy. Okay, you cannot add an employee without pharmacy. You all agree to this? Okay, I'm picking one pharmacy, and this is the pharmacy, and inside the pharmacy we have pharmacy employees. Currently there is only one employee. Only Sachin is working alone. Okay. Now we wanted to implement this condition. Let's say government put a law saying that, okay, if you are operating a pharmacy, okay, the pharmacy employee should be minimum 12th passed. Okay. Let's see how we can implement that logic, business logic. Okay. There are multiple ways we can do it. We will see what are all the ways. Okay. Number one, we can we have to have first our data model should be flexible to support this business process. Okay. When we talk about business process, it not just control. Your model, view, controller, all three gets impacted. Okay. But the logic, only the logic part resides in the um, controller. But any business process coming into picture, it affects your model, it affects your view, it affects your controller. Okay. Today, if I say you should be +2 passed minimum, right? We can just add one checkbox field saying that is my 12th degree certificate uploaded? Okay. Or certificate proving that I have passed 12th standard is uploaded. Like if I have completed my college degree, that means I've completed or I'm qualified. Okay. So this education certificate uploaded. Okay. Glad to check whether the certificate is provided by employee. I'm just adding one checkbox field. Okay. Okay, once again, this must be a required field. Next, visible, everyone. A pharmacy employee that we are adding. Okay, now we added a checkbox. Okay, confirming that is education certificate uploaded or provided by the employee. Okay, we have a concept called validation rule. This validation rule can be added to ensure that okay, this can be added to ensure the data is properly set up in the system or not. Okay, so here I'm just putting a validation rule saying that is the certificate provided by the user. If it is false, I'm going to throw an error. I cannot accept an employee without their educational certificate. Rule saying that educational certificate is mandatory. Education certificate check. So I'm just adding one condition saying that in pharma employees, this uploaded must be true. Error message. If this condition, error condition formula, if this is equal to, okay. Please, every employee must provide their certificate to be onboarded in the pharmacy. Okay. Okay. Save. Okay. Now I added one validation rule. This is a implementation of business logic. I added one checkbox field. Now let me go modify the layout as well. Pharmacy employee, I'm changing the layout to ensure the field is added in this layout. Employee certificate is uploaded. Okay. Now I would say in the page layout, we can implement certain logics, like, in the properties, you can say whether it is read-only field or it's a required field. I don't know why the required field is blank. We'll check that. Now, if I go back to pharmacy employees, I'm trying to add a new pharmacy employee. I'll say, let's onboard Robert, mobile number 9087980123 email address travid@pharmacy.test. Okay. When I save, the system will throw an error. The system is enforcing the user to say, hey, they must provide a certificate. Without getting the certificate, you cannot onboard them into the company. Does this make sense? Implementing business logic in Salesforce in a declarative way. This is one example. We will see more. Azim, does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, what happens to the existing employees then if they have not submitted the certificate?
That's a very good question. Yes. So whenever you try to edit an existing employee, okay, there we can provide the logic. Okay, I'm just saying pharmacy section dating 10. Whenever we try to update, it will throw an error. If you want to, make it specific to while the record is getting inserted, we can update our validation rule accordingly. Okay. During insert only, do this check, or while updating, do this check. Okay. And there are processes like we have something called flow. This is what Salesforce recommends to implement all the business process. We had like workflows and process builder. Salesforce is sunsetting these two, workflow and process builder. They wanted us to go for flows. Okay. Flows is where we can implement the business process declaratively. Business logic, not process, business logic. Okay. In this flow, we can, that there are multiple ways we can do. So will just come to that. So you can control when this validation has to happen or when this logic has to be implemented. While inserting, while updating, or while deleting. Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
I'll just real quickly show. Okay. So validation role is one such place. Yeah, also we seen day before yesterday or yesterday we saw, right, in a field when you make it required, that itself is a business validation, a business logic, right? You're enforcing that, okay, my business needs this data. Please make sure the data is required. Without that data, your record cannot be saved. Okay. Okay. So flows is like, the most powerful feature that is that was provided by Salesforce. Okay. Now this helps us build various processes, various I would say logic. Okay. Let's say in hospital management, let's say there is a patient. Okay. So patient get admitted in the hospital for some treatment. Okay. So when a patient get admitted, there will be certain forms that we used to fill. You guys you would have seen it basically. So in if you visit a clinic, they will basically, the doctor will ask you questions to understand what is the problem. Okay. So similarly, in case of a hospital admission for any problem, for a small um, for stitches, or for headache, or for heart pain, anything, they will have a certain procedure, check the patient's BP, check the patient's blood, um, sugar levels. Okay. So these are all procedures. Okay. And using flows, we can implement the processes very effectively. Let's take a simple a case where the doctor would ask us to fill a simple form whenever we are visiting a clinic or hospital. Let's take a clinic. It's more easier. Okay. Okay. Now we can define flows. Okay. There are multiple types of flow. Okay. There are I'll just go with one flow now. Screen flow will go. Okay. And then we will um, we'll see what are the other types of flows that are available and what scenario they can be used. Okay. So let me go check the screen flow. Okay. Great. Now I'm trying to create a screen flow for a patient review. Okay. Just a patient has visited. Okay. I'm just going to ask a few questions on what happened. Okay. Or patient admission, you can call it as. Just give me start. So here in the flow, you can add in interactions. What is that? Since we selected a screen flow, we can add screens where we can get input from user. Okay. And before that, I want to make sure. Okay, this is just a screen flow. So I'm just asking, okay, what is your name? Okay. And I'll ask, what is the issue? So name, what is the problem? Reason for visit, not the problem, reason for visit. This is required. And we'll ask the just date of birth. Yeah, we'll just ask for age, man. No, date of birth is okay. We can calculate age. Okay, so this sort of UI stuff and all, like, will be taken care by business. Business will give us all the inputs. We would be like, implementing uh, based on their requirements. Okay. So we are just asking the name. We are asking what is the reason for the visit and what is the date of birth. Okay. So here in the reason for visit, I'm just going to add multiple values. So I'll just say fever. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. Give me some example, guys. Cold. Okay.
Regular checkup.
Sorry.
Regular checkup.
Regular checkup. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Cool. I'll say others. So these are the choices that we are giving, and default, I'm not setting anything. Just give done. Okay. 3 errors. What are the 3 errors? Let user select multiple options. Yes. Okay. The default value, no. Okay. I have to give a name. Patient name. Okay, I have to give a screen name. Patient visit book. Okay, screen to get patient info. Okay, so now in this business process, I have set up one screen to capture the data. Now I got the data. Okay, now I need to store this data in the database. Okay, which we can do with create record. Okay, so we are trying to create a record in the system. So label, we call it a save patient visit. I'll save it in contact for now. Visit. Select manual. I'll store it in contact. Okay. Last name, I'll pick it from patient name, last name. First name, I'll pick it from patient name, first name. At field, we have date of birth, birth date. We'll give date of birth. Okay, in contact, we have description. I'll just use the description for storing the choice. Okay, reason for visit. Okay, save. I had to give a name. So in this process, we are just asking what is the reason for the visit from the patient, and we are just storing it in the system. Excuse me. Patient visit. Go to patient. Excuse me. Okay, right now I'm just saving. Okay, now the flow is set up. The business processes. I want to understand a patient coming in, just like get the reason for their visit. Okay, and I'm just storing that information in the contact object. So let me, okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, let me just activate it. Dinesh, how can I invoke this flow? Any suggestions? Okay, I'm just doing a run now.
Debug, sir. Debug means we have to create the record.
Okay, debug on store the record. Yeah, so let's say we are getting a visit from Chini. Okay, Chini. Kant is coming with fever. Straight up at this, date, February 1st. Next. So now what happened is the flow just got the data and it's stored in the contact. So Rajinikanth contact is stored here. It's saved. And here I got the date of birth from the flow and we got the reason for the visit. Okay. Now this flow can be invoked from a button which we can configure in a place. Okay. So as you can see, this is one simple flow. This is we built this process declaratively. We have not done any coding so far. Okay. Does this simple one screen flow make sense? Now we can modify this to add multiple screens, multiple actions. We will go through that. I want to give you guys the glimpse of what we can do. Okay. In the screen we can say thank you for your visit is recorded. This is your so and so token number, or this is your admission number. Whatever we want to give us output, we can do that. Okay. Does this make sense? There are so many logics. We'll check all the logics. But flow, how we used a simple screen flow to capture the data. Okay. And this will help us, when you guys can ask a question how it is different than the UI that we have seen yesterday or day before yesterday. See, yesterday what you have seen is object specific UI, right? We have built UI for pharmacy, we built UI for hospital, like we modified the layout for the hospital management, record management. Okay. In this flows you can build UI for a business process. If my process impacts 3 or 4 objects, flows would be the right choice to do it. If it is single object, I just go use the layout itself. Life is easy. But if my business process involves multiple record updates, okay, flow will come handy. Okay, I'll give one simple example. If a patient admission happens, right, patient record is created, and their admission, which room they're going to be allocated, that would be created, right? That's a separate record. And who is the doctor that referred them, so that the reference information can be stored. Okay. And who is the doctor who would be taking care of them while they are in the hospital? Who is the nurse who is going to taking care of them in the hospital? All such informations can be auto calculated. Like they would have defined the business process, right? If a person comes on Monday, who is the duty doctor for Monday? Create an appointment for the duty doctor to visit the patient. Okay. Who are the nurses on duty on Monday? Okay. Make sure the nurse is allocated, there will be nurses allocated to each bed in the hospital. So we can create schedules for them. We can manage the work for nurses whenever a patient is onboarded or admitted. And when a patient is vacating or discharged, at that time we can relieve, okay, the nurse workload is reduced, right? And we can complete the or close the appointment with the doctors. So business process are very complex. Like it varies from business to business. Okay. So for single object access, your layouts, your writing record pages, sufficient. Okay. When it comes to a process, flows are efficient way to do it in a declarative way. Again, programmatic, we will see next week how we can, define business process. Does this make sense? Okay. I just want to quickly walk through what are all the flow types that we have. Okay. And in case of then we will see what are the other ways that we can implement business logics. Okay. 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 So auto launched flows are when a record is stored, like you don't need to invoke this flow, right? There is no, button clicks needed. Okay. I can say, hey, whenever a patient is onboarded, send a message to the doctor, right? That can happen via auto launched flows. It can be invoked by multiple ways. There is no UI needed for this. Okay. So auto launched orchestration or auto launched flow, there is no UI needed. Okay. And so the evaluation flow is again we can use this is for creating a flow with certain conditions, questions. All of those things can be set up in this. Okay. And contact request flows, this is for our portals, which we can make use of this. We can expose this flow directly in the portals where we can get data from the users from portal. I told one thing, right? Like the license cost is very high for Salesforce. Okay. Salesforce made the license cost low for the portal users, like customer community plus. Those are low cost because a business can have multiple customers. Okay. So via this flows, we can get data from users from the portal. Okay. So in Salesforce, we have something called lead conversions. So any standard processes which are already defined in the system, we can invoke them using the object linking flow. So this is part of your data cloud. We will see that individual object. Platform event triggered flow, again, on an event, right? If you have very advanced system like Apollo Hospital, let's say I have built a like I would say um, you guys would have seen in movies where you have set up sensors in a particular place, very secure places. Whenever the sensor is breached, you get an alarm, right? So basically, these are driven by event subscription model, we call it publisher subscriber model. So any event has been sent to the system, that event can start a flow. Okay. So events can come from within the system or it can come from an external system. Okay. For example, if a patient, okay, uh, let's say there is a oxygen mask given to a patient. Okay. If there is a problem in the mission, okay, when the patient is there, then it can send an event saying that, okay, hey, there is a problem in this mission. That event can be used to alert nurses or doctors. So this is where the IoT can be very effective here, but platform events, it's basically based on publisher subscriber model. Okay, there will be one publisher, there will be tons of subscribers, right? If my oxygen device is going to fail or if there is a problem in that, that is publisher. That can be subscribed by like in mobile there is some term. Okay, so it can be subscribed by multiple systems. Salesforce can be one such system, and when that event happens, Salesforce can start a process or can do some activities based on the event. Okay. Okay, so record trigger flow, this happens whenever a record is stored in the system. Okay, I'll just show the conditions that we have in the record trigger flow. So here we can choose on what object the flow would be started. Okay, what are all the conditions when a record is getting created or when a record is updated or when a record is deleted. Okay, so on these conditions, whenever a record inserted to the contact, we can run this process or run this flow. Okay, so I can say there are no conditions. Anytime a record is deleted, contact is deleted, let me know. Okay, so this is a sample for record trigger flow. Here I can define actions that can say, okay, send an alert to management why a patient record get deleted, right? We can define multiple actions. Okay. Similarly, we have schedule trigger flow, which is which can run on a particular time. Let's say I can say every day morning 9 o'clock. Okay, based on the patients who are available in the hospital system, let's send a plan to the doctors. Hey, today you have to visit 10 patients. These are the patient details. Okay, so we can schedule time-based actions via this schedule trigger flow. Okay. Salesforce scheduler flow, it's basically kind of calendar application. So whenever an appointment is booked using Salesforce scheduler, I think what activities we have to do can configure there. Okay. Screen flow we just saw it. It has it is used to get input from the user. If you guys have noticed, most of this doesn't need any input from a user. User action is not needed. Auto launched flow, it can be invoked when I get the data from any other third party system itself. Like platform event flow, there is no user action needed. It can be based on the events. Okay. Schedule trigger flow, it's based on the time. Record trigger flow based on record creation. Like I can use a page layout to create a contact, and based on the contact record creation, I can set up some logic. So user provisioning flow is just for user record creation to integrate with other systems. So Salesforce is investing very heavily on flow. The 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 reason for why they have to do this, right? Salesforce is a low code no code platform. Okay, so all these flow features are there only last 4 years. Okay, Salesforce is there for last 20 years. Flows, I would say 7 years, I believe. But initially there was not this many features. There were only two type of flows there when they started. Okay, so the reason Salesforce is investing very heavily on flows is because it want to simplify its development process for the businesses. Okay, if I got a new business process to implement, okay, using flows, you can implement it faster. Okay, and since it is a low-code, no-code platform, Salesforce is investing very heavily on flows. It is obsoleting some of the existing features, but knowing flows, it helps business because they can implement business processes very quickly. Good. When you guys go through the Thailand modules, you guys will study in detail about all of this. Right now, this is the overview of flows in the system. Okay, we will have a detailed week dedicated for flows. Okay, we'll see all the nuances in the flow. Okay. Does this overview make sense? Like you guys need to understand what is a business process first, and understand what sort of actions to be taken, what are all the data updates that has to happen. And once that actions updates are clear, then we can make use of flows to implement that. Okay, I will go here. Okay, mid-side sales. What was the first session that we took? Introduction. Okay, I will update this diagram. It is outdated, but so I want you guys to be very clear on this. We just saw the basics of the left side, declarative side. Okay, next week we will see the basics of programmatic side. Okay, and this would help us simplify a lot of things about Salesforce. Okay, so any request, any requirement comes, you can imagine, okay, hey, this is what I'm doing in the screen. This is what happens behind the screen. At the end of the day, what is the data that gets updated? Okay, this data is the foundation. Okay, anything you do results somewhere as data. Okay, and this logic is very, 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 very important. UI, yeah, this is what you see. Okay, so in declarative, any questions on the declarative? Okay, let me know if you guys have questions. Okay, I'll take some examples which can make you guys which will help you guys relate. Kishore Kumar. Are you there, Kishore?
Awesome.
Yes. Kishore, if there is a football match to be organized, okay, can you tell what are all the steps involved to have a match or to organize a match? What would you do if you have to organize a match?
Sir, it, already ground facilities. I need to take care of ground facilities first for this.
I'm not able to hear you.
So, audible?
Yes. Others, are you guys able to hear Kishore Kumar?
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
Yes, Kishore
first,
Kumar.
second form is ground facilities must, sir. Need to
Okay.
take care
So
of, sir.
you will go check the ground facilities, right? So guys, the requirement here is very simple. All I want to do is organize a football match, period, right? Inside this, there are so many processes that are needed. Like Kishore Kumar is just explaining some of them. So first, you have to make sure there is a availability of ground. What else, Kishore Kumar?
And then, sir, teams, number of teams, entry units. Entering the
Uh,
team,
okay, number of teams. Okay, fine. So basically, who are all the teams that are going to participate? So we need to finalize who are the teams that are going to participate, right? Okay.
sir, and then accommodation for them.
Okay. If it is a multiple day match, yes, accommodation, something that we need to take care. See, okay, yes, accommodations. What else?
Sir, and then time and event time. Match
Event
time.
times. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you would plan out the matches, right? If it is one match, it can be closed in one day. If it is like 3-team tournament, then it can be like multiple matches, round robin or like whatever thing. Yes, matches has to be scheduled. Okay. Fine. I think I think thanks Kishore Kumar. So the idea is, guys, like anything that you are like seeing, there is a process involved. Okay, try to see the process. Once you see the process, it will help you guys understand business better. Once you understand the business better, you can implement a good application for them. Okay, good. Any further doubts on what is business logic, what is data model, what is UI? Any of you guys like know a doctor, your family members, neighbors, a doctor? Seriously, NEET is so impactful. No doctors?
Uh,
Sorry? No, I'm not able to hear you guys. So let me increase volume in my end. No doctors. There are like 30 people in the group. Nobody knows a doctor.
I know a doctor, sir. I have a sister.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. At least one person knows. Okay. So like yes, like like becoming a doctor is a dream, right, for many people. And even that takes a process, right? Like you have to like clear NEET. You have to like study for 5 years. You have to be like do a lot of sacrifice. So everything has a process to it. Okay, like it could be a very simple like getting driving license, right? You cannot just like that go get a driving license, right? They have put a process to it. You have to get your LLR. You have to go take a road test, written test first, then do a road test, and then like you would be issued a license. Okay, so try to see the process in everything that you do. Okay, the buses that are running on the road, right? If it is state owned, like how the driver selection is happening, right? And how the bus schedules are planned. Okay, everything follows a process. Every business is driven by process. Try to look that process, understand the process. Any business, every damn business, everything that we do, like the food that our like mother prepares these days, dad's also cooking. So the food that they prepare follows a process. Okay. So my humble request is try to see the process. Once you understand the process, we can just like implement it easily. Good. Okay. So yeah, from the declarative point of view, this is the overview. This is the basic that I wanted you guys to be like thought like be aware of. Okay. I want you guys to complete the trailhead module. No excuses. Okay. Monday, I highly appreciate every one of you completing the trailhead module. Okay. And next week we are going to do programmatic like overview where we'll be primarily focusing on Apex and LWC. Okay. It is not going to be 2 hour 2 hours continuous session. It will be 1 hour for Apex. We will have a break and then another 1 hour for LWC. Lightning Web Component, basically. Okay. And that is going to be an overview to give you an idea of what can be done. Okay. And what is Apex basically is, what is LWC basically is. Okay. So I will split this into 2 1-hour session. One would be in the morning and one would be in the evening. Great. So if you guys have any more questions on declarative, feel free to ask me. Please put it in the chat. I really appreciate every question in the chat, so that it's not only you learning, like, there are people who might have the same question, same doubt, could learn. And if any of you know the answer to the question the other person is asking, please do share your knowledge. Okay. Update them, say them, okay, hey, like this is the answer for this question. Okay. Knowledge grows only when it is shared. So I appreciate everyone to ask question and appreciate everyone to answer that question if possible. Yeah, I'll come to know the effectiveness of my sessions next week, because next week I'll start giving activities to you guys. So I'm looking forward to that. Dinesh, are you all ready to work?
Yes, sir. I ready to work.
Okay, fantastic. Shiva, ready? I believe.
Yes, yes.
Any questions? All good?
No, yes, all good. I was actually, since I've been practicing on Trailhead, like most of it, but I haven't got to the programmatic so far. So the
Okay.
next week would be a lot of learning for me as well.
Yep, it will be, sure. Okay. Faiz, any questions?
No, sir.
Great. Abdul Sikandar, any questions from your end? Okay. Raja Suraj, I know you missed yesterday's session. I'm not sure you're there in today's session. Is there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Raja. So yesterday might be a tiring day for you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Raja, on what we discussed
No
today?
questions, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. No questions today, sir.